My issue is that all of this is a lie that is being spread to defame Ahmaud Arbery. So let's go through it. Let me turn my face off here. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. It's a self-defense case. No. The McMichaels were attempting to execute a citizen's arrest using shotguns. It was not self-defense because Mr. Arbery was not going after the McMichaels. The McMichaels were going after him. Do you understand that? Mr. Arbery was running. The McMichaels were in vehicles with guns. How were the McMichaels in danger in any way? They chose to track down this man. They chose to chase him. Okay? Did you know that he who died had just stolen valuable tools from a construction site? I did not, because that is a lie. He had not stolen anything. Tell me this. If he had just stolen tools, which are usually pretty heavy, how is he running? Unarmed, with nothing in his hands or pockets. Do you often run carrying like sledgehammers or any kind of heavy machinery that you would find at a construction site? No, you don't. That's not something that you're just going to run through the neighborhood with. He wasn't holding anything in his hands that he might have stolen. And the owner of the house under construction has already stated multiple times, Mr. Arbery did not steal anything from his property. There were no trespassing signs on the property. There were no doors to be broken down or windows to be broken into. Mr. Arbery was not the only person that walked around in that construction site. He was the only person that was chased down and shot. There was a person they believed to be homeless. Mr. Ahmaud Arbery was not homeless. The person they say was stealing tools was a homeless man that they have still not identified, but they have clarified that it was not Ahmaud Arbery. So no, he did not steal anything from that construction site. Did I know that the two men were on the phone with 911 the entire time? Yeah, I did. And did you know that the dispatcher basically told them that they should stop pursuing him? I listened to the 911 call. The dispatcher repeatedly asks, what has he done? What is he doing? And when they say, should we even be following him, the dispatcher basically says, no, you do not need to be following him. So yeah, they were on 911 the entire time. And 911 was telling them to stop following this man who had not committed a crime yet. Did you know he tried to grab the rifle out of the man holding it? Yeah. After being chased down for miles, he was exhausted and he finally stopped running and they got out of the truck with the shotgun pointed at him. You are not in Mr. Arbery's mind. He was terrified. Of course he grabbed the shotgun. These men that were just chasing him for who knows how long, while he was on foot, they have been chasing him in vehicles, and now they have a gun pointed at him. Hell yes, he's going to grab that gun. You know what? I would have too. I would have, being a white woman, I would have done the exact same thing Mr. Arbery did. Because they had no right to be chasing him. They had no right to hold a gun on him. They had no right to do any of what they did. They had no reasonable suspicion of a crime. No crime happened, so how could they have reasonable suspicion of one? And before you start saying, well, he was trespassing, fine, okay. He was trespassing. Trespassing is not even an arrestable offense 99% of the time. You want somebody to leave? Tell them to leave. If they don't leave, then they're arrested for trespassing. They didn't tell Mr. Arbery to leave. He was already gone. He left the place where they wanted him to leave. So what were they detaining him for? Well, they said they just wanted to talk to him. They wanted to ask some questions for him. Well, okay, but he didn't want to talk to you. And in the United States of America, everybody, black or white, we have the right to remain silent to anybody, not just to the police. You don't just have to be silent to the police. If your mom and dad want to know something from you that you don't want to answer, you have the legal right to not say shit. You have the legal right to be mute. You have the legal right to not speak to anyone that you don't want to speak to. So Mr. Arbery, clearly not wanting to speak to them and running away, he has that right. The McMichaels do not get to forcibly command somebody to talk to them just because they want to talk to the person. It don't matter what the fuck you want to do. Each individual person has the right to choose who they want to speak to and who they don't. And if you're chasing somebody down in a pickup truck with guns screaming at them, they're not going to want to speak to you. Did you know this last act is why he was shot in an act of self-defense? Yeah, he was shot trying to disarm the murderers who had chased him down. It was in self-defense on his part. Mr. Arbery was attempting to defend his life when he reached for that gun. And did you know the word was never uttered by any of the men involved? It was. It absolutely was. And it's on one of the cameras. And they're dismissing it because they're saying that it happened like so close to when the murder happened that they can't be responsible for what they're saying in that traumatized moment. But he said what he said. Never watched the video or paid any attention. Yeah, I actually did watch the videos. I watched the video last year when he was killed, and I have been keeping up with the case since then. The problem is that so many people believe all of these lies about this man. Ahmaud Arbery didn't do any of this. And now he's dead, and he doesn't even get the chance to defend himself. And people like you and millions of others, there are so many people who believe this. You're going to spend the rest of your lives tearing down and defaming a man who was murdered in cold blood just because you don't want to admit that it is very, very possible some people in America are still racist. Because if you admit that it's possible that there are corners of America where racism is still rampant, you might have to try to fix that. And fixing that might fuck up your whole world. So it's easier to continue spreading lies and misinformation. I'm not buying into it or playing that game. The McMichaels, with their pickup trucks and shotguns and Confederate flag sticker, chased down and gunned down an unarmed black man who was doing nothing but running. He did not steal anything. They did not see him steal anything. They did not own the property they were trying to trespass him from. There was no need to trespass somebody who had already left. They were not police. They are completely fucked. And I'm happy for it. Because and what's sad is, even after they go to prison, people are still going to be spreading this nonsense about Mr. Arbery. You can be the best human being possible, but then if you die, somebody else is going to get to tell your story. And if they don't like the way you look, they might decide to tell your story like this, which is sad. And it's exactly why I didn't want people who hated me telling my story. It's why I told my story before the people who despise me had a chance. Because I want to make sure that people know my side of everything. Mr. Arbery doesn't get to present his side. The McMichaels get to create what they've had the last year to create whatever they wanted in their heads. They've had the last year to convince millions of other racist people that what they did is right. It wasn't right.